Next question is from Aran Moonclaw. A more serious question. This is something that came up in rendering discussion. How do you feel about content that abuses certain quirks of Unity? This was in the context of render queues being set to ranges that are undefined in Unity documentation, but I feel it applies more generally where it might be very difficult to match excerpt behavior in future. Yeah, it makes things difficult for us because like it puts us in a situation where like it essentially makes it like there's like no good outcome out of the situation. Because either we have to like, spend a lot more work and jump through a lot more hoops to keep the content, working the way it was, or we have to break it. There's no other option. And neither of those is good. So I personally feel like, people would heed our advice and not put us into that situation. But they do, and then it's a difficult situation because like, if we... Oh, what was that?
Oh, I'm just reading the thing.
Oh, I was like, wait, we should just join the session. Sorry. Yeah, it's crazy or a difficult situation because like, maybe now it's like too much effort to actually like support it, and we don't have time to like implement systems, or maybe we need to make them a lot more complicated. And we already spend a lot of time like compatibility. Sometimes we find like solutions that work pretty well. Maybe we can find something that actually generalizes better, so like it won't become as much of an issue, but we can't guarantee that. And sometimes, doing that, it kind of puts constraints on the design because now we have to kind of consider those kinds of like weird use cases and how do we actually accommodate for them. So it just makes things difficult for everyone because like either it's going to be difficult for us to support it, and what happens as a result, maybe you delay, custom render, like official custom render by like a good chunk of time because now we need to like, deal with situations that we wouldn't have to deal with otherwise. Or, we'll be like, we can't support this and it breaks and behaves differently, and then people get angry at us, and that's not fun to deal with, even though like we warned you about this. Like we try to like, be upfront, be like, this might break, and then you did it, and then it broke, and now you're angry at us because we didn't have a choice, but to break it. And it's just, I don't know, it's stressful, and I feel like it's a situation that doesn't need to be so stressful, but that requires people to kind of like be more considerate and kind of listen, like, to the warnings. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. At the very least, if people were to want to like, abuse some features, is like make content that like doesn't rely on it. So like, like you're just playing around and you're prepared for it to break. And when it breaks, you like, like if you're the type of person like you mess with things that we say this will break, you mess around with it, and then it breaks, and you're just gonna be like, yeah, I expected it to happen, like you told us, like then like we don't really have an issue because you're like, we gave you warning, we wanted you to know, you can still play with it, like we won't be like angry for you playing with it as long as you understand, the limitations. And if you're like, that, like we have no issue with that, like, that's not causing like any stress, that's not causing things. But like if you're like, this will break, don't use this if you like, if you want to build stuff that relies on it, and then despite that warning, you build stuff with it, and then it breaks, and then you become angry at us, it's like what we do, like on our end. Like we try to be upfront, we try to prevent this to happen. You made a choice to ignore the warnings, and now you're paying the price, but you're making us pay the price. And that's just, it's not fun.